Football is a game of passion, pride, and reputation. But in the relentless pressure of the Premier League, all of these can vanish in just a few weeks. One bad start is all it takes to turn champions into doubters and legends into question marks. If you think Premier League giants are immune to collapse, you might want to think again. Just ask Chelsea fans about the 2015-16 season, when their dreams of a back-to-back title turned into one of the worst starts in Premier League history. Picture this, a team of champions reduced to strugglers in mere months. Chelsea's 2015-16 season wasn't just bad, it was historically catastrophic. What caused such a dramatic collapse, and could it happen to any top club? Chelsea entered the 2015-16 season on top of the world, fresh off their Premier League triumph. The Blues seemed poised for another year of dominance under the special one Jose Mourinho. But football has a way of humbling even the mightiest of teams. The warning signs appeared early. A 3-0 drubbing at the hands of Manchester City in just the second game of the season raised eyebrows. But surely it was just a blip, right? Wrong. Chelsea's form continued to nosedive, with a shock 2-1 defeat to Crystal Palace at Stamford Bridge hammering home the reality that something was seriously amiss with the champions. As the losses piled up, Chelsea's confident swagger gave way to a team plagued by self-doubt. By December, the unthinkable had happened. The reigning champions found themselves hovering perilously close to the relegation zone, a position no one could have predicted at the start of the season. So, what went wrong? Mourinho's tactical decisions came under intense scrutiny. His reliance on underperforming players and inability to effectively manage games that were slipping away contributed significantly to Chelsea's downfall. The once impenetrable defense now leaked goals, while the attack struggled to find the net with any consistency. But the problems weren't confined to the pitch. Off-field controversies added fuel to the fire. Public spats between Mourinho and key players created a toxic atmosphere around the club. The unity that had propelled Chelsea to the title just months earlier had evaporated, replaced by finger-pointing and discord. To put Chelsea's collapse into perspective, let's look at the numbers. In their title-winning 2014-15 campaign, the Blues amassed an impressive 87 points. Fast forward to the 2015-16 season, and the contrast is stark. Chelsea limped to a 10th place finish, their lowest in 2 decades. The situation reached a breaking point in December 2015, with Chelsea languishing in 16th place, just 1 point above the relegation zone. The club's board made the difficult decision to part ways with Mourinho. The special 1-second stint at Stamford Bridge had come to an inglorious end, a far cry from the triumphant atmosphere of the previous season. Chelsea's fall from grace serves as a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in football. One season you're lifting the Premier League trophy, next you're battling to stay afloat in the top flight. It's a cautionary tale that no club, no matter how successful, is immune to a dramatic collapse. If Chelsea's collapse was unexpected, Manchester United's record-breaking slump in 2024-25 might just be one of the worst starts in Premier League history. With only 8 points from their first 7 matches, the once mighty Red Devils found themselves stuck in 14th place with a goal difference of -3. For a club that once ruled English football, this kind of decline is hard to believe. United entered the 2024 season with high hopes under Erik ten Hag. However, it quickly became clear that those hopes were misplaced. United's attack, once feared by every defence in the league, now looks toothless and uninspired. A goalless draw against Aston Villa, where United failed to create a single big chance, perfectly summed up their early struggles. Scoring only 5 goals across their opening fixtures, it was clear that creativity had dried up, leaving fans increasingly frustrated. To make matters worse, the Red Devils showed no signs of tactical clarity. Ten Hag's attempts to address their defensive and offensive frailties seemed to fall flat, and as the poor results mounted, the sense of crisis deepened. From their attack to their defense, the question on everyone's mind was, how could Manchester United, with their rich history, be delivering one of their worst starts in the Premier League era? As the struggles continued, so did the pressure on Ten Hag. His tactical decisions came under intense scrutiny, with critics questioning whether he had the answers to fix United's glaring problems. Defensive frailties in particular became painfully obvious, with United leaking goals at critical moments. It wasn't just poor form, it felt like the foundations of the team were crumbling. To put United's poor start into perspective, it was one of their worst after 7 games since the 1989-90 season, when they had an equally dreadful points tally and eventually finished 13th. Back then, Sir Alex Ferguson was given time to turn things around, eventually leading United to an FA Cup victory and the beginning of an era of dominance. But modern football is a far harsher environment. Erik ten Hag, under the microscope from potential minority shareholders like Sir Jim Ratcliffe, now faced mounting pressure not just from the fans but from within the club itself. This wasn't just a one-off poor start either. For the second season in a row, United found themselves languishing outside the top spots, with questions swirling around whether Ten Hag's tactical approach was truly suited for the Premier League. Beyond just their place in the table, Manchester United's brand, once synonymous with global football dominance, was starting to look tarnished. Manchester United's 2024-25 campaign wasn't just a tactical disaster, it was a nightmare of injuries. Luke Shaw, a rock in defence, missed the start with a calf injury, leaving United's backline exposed. Kobbie Mainoo, a young star expected to shine, was sidelined with a hamstring issue, while Alejandro Garnacho, battling a knee injury, could only watch from the sidelines. Rasmus Højlund, returning from a pre-season injury, also faced challenges getting back to full fitness. After missing the start of the season due to a hamstring injury, Højlund made his return to the pitch on September 1st, 2024. However, the young striker took a cautious approach, easing his way back into action to avoid risking another setback. While he was eager to make an impact, he admitted to losing weight during his recovery, focusing on gradually regaining his fitness rather than rushing back to play a full 90 minutes immediately. Despite these efforts, his form remained inconsistent, raising concerns about whether he could fully carry United's goal-scoring burden. The lingering fitness issues, combined with the need to ease his way back, left fans wondering whether United's attacking problems were truly solved. With these key players out or struggling with fitness, United's depth was tested like never before. Injuries hit them hard, and for a team already battling poor form, this season was quickly turning into one of the worst Premier League starts in their history. As some clubs stumble, others collapse entirely. In 2014, Liverpool were just 2 points shy of their first league title in 24 years. 12 months later, they finished a staggering 25 points behind the champions. What catastrophic events turned title contenders into also runs in the span of a single season. Liverpool's fall from grace in the 2014-15 season was a stark reminder of football's unpredictable nature. The previous campaign had seen the Reds come agonisingly close to ending their long wait for a Premier League title, with only a late season slip-up denying them glory. Expectations were high as they entered the new season, but what followed was a dramatic unravelling that left fans and pundits alike in disbelief. The summer of 2014 brought significant changes to Anfield, none more impactful than the departure of Luis Suarez to Barcelona. The Uruguayan striker had been the focal point of Liverpool's attack, netting 31 goals in the previous Premier League campaign. His exit left a gaping hole in the team's offensive capabilities, one that proved impossible to fill adequately. Liverpool's attempts to replace Suarez's firepower fell short. The club struggled to find a suitable replacement, leading to a noticeable lack of consistency in their attacking play throughout the season. This deficiency was evident in their goal-scoring record, which paled in comparison to the previous year's tally. Injuries compounded Liverpool's woes, disrupting any chance of building momentum. Daniel Sturridge, who had formed a lethal partnership with Suarez, spent much of the season on the sidelines. His absence further depleted Liverpool's attacking options and highlighted the squad's lack of depth in key areas. Manager Brendan Rodgers faced mounting pressure as he grappled with these challenges. His tactical decisions came under scrutiny as he attempted to adapt to the loss of Suarez and manage a squad that lacked the depth and experience to compete on multiple fronts. The fluidity and dynamism that had characterized Liverpool's play in the previous season were notably absent. Liverpool's performances throughout the 2014-15 campaign were marked by inconsistency. Early season losses to Manchester City and West Ham United set a tone of uncertainty. A brief resurgence in March, including a victory over Manchester City, offered a glimmer of hope, but it proved to be short-lived. The team's inability to string together consistent results saw them hovering around mid-table for much of the season. The statistics paint a clear picture of Liverpool's decline. In their near-title-winning 2013-14 season, the Reds amassed 84 points and scored a staggering 101 goals. Fast forward to 2014-15, and the contrast is stark. A 6th-place finish with just 62 points and a mere 52 goals scored. This dramatic downturn in form represented a 22-point drop and a goal deficit of nearly 50% compared to the previous year. Key matches throughout the season highlighted Liverpool's struggles. A 3-1 defeat to Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park in November was particularly painful, evoking memories of the previous season's title slip-up at the same venue. The loss seemed to encapsulate Liverpool's fall from grace, with the team looking a shadow of their former selves. As the season progressed, the reality of Liverpool's situation became increasingly clear. The dream of building on their near miss and challenging for the title again had evaporated. Instead, the club found itself in a battle for European qualification, a far cry from the lofty ambitions they held at the season's outset. Liverpool's 6th place finish in the 2014-15 season was more than just a disappointing season. It marked the beginning of a period of transition for the club. The campaign exposed weaknesses in the squad and raised questions about the club's transfer strategy and long-term planning. It would take several more years and a change in management before Liverpool would once again challenge for the Premier League title. The collapses of Chelsea, Manchester City and Liverpool highlight a sobering truth in football. Success is fragile. These giants of the Premier League, once seemingly invincible, found themselves struggling to stay afloat. Their stories serve as a stark reminder that no club, regardless of its stature or resources, is immune to sudden downturns. What ties these cases together is the speed at which fortunes can change. From title contenders to mid-table mediocrity, the fall can be swift and brutal. Managerial decisions, player form, injuries, and off-field issues all play a part in these dramatic shifts. As one football pundit noted, football is unpredictable. It keeps fans coming back for more, despite the heartbreak it can sometimes bring. This unpredictability is the essence of the sport's appeal. It's a game where giants can fall, underdogs can rise, and every season brings new surprises. For the Premier League Titans, their struggles remind us that in football, nothing is ever guaranteed.